The strategy and tactics for high-rise firefighting is totally reliant on the type of construction, type 1 fire-resistant construction. It's important to note that these structures do not add to the fuel load of a fire. That's the way they're designed. For example, your house, a regular wooden house, if a fire was to start in your house, everything inside your house would burn up, and then your house would catch fire, and the structure would burn, and it would burn down. Excuse me, that's not how high-rise buildings are constructed. The columns are rated for 3 hours, and the beams and the floors are rated for 2 hours. So this allows us, we use the 2-hour operational time going by the floor because that's what we're standing on, but that gives us basically 2 hours of operation to fight fire inside a high-rise building. But again, remember, these buildings are designed to withstand the fire load inside the structure. That means that everything inside the structure is going to burn completely out if it's not checked by either an automatic sprinkler system or manually by firefighting suppression efforts. That the building is designed to contain the fire and let that fuel burn itself out. That's how we design our strategy and tactics, and it hasn't changed, and it's our current practice today. So now NIST claimed that the sprinklers on the first 20 floors could not operate due to broken city water mains caused by the collapse of Tower 1 and 2. The Department of Environmental Protection provided pressure trace information from the water supply on the morning of September 11th. Their data at the 14th Street regulators demonstrates that the collapse of the Twin Towers had no negative effect on water pressure being supplied to Lower Manhattan. You know, historically, there have been many examples of high-rise fires in buildings where sprinkler systems were either not fitted or not operational. Examples include in 1970, One New York Plaza. It had no sprinklers and was reported to have poor fireproofing. It burned for several hours, and that building is still in use today. In 1988, the first Interstate Bank building in Los Angeles, it was fully sprinklered, but the sprinklers were not yet operational. The building burned for 4 hours, and the building is still in use today. Today it's the Aon building. In 2004, Park Central Tower fire in Caracas, Venezuela. Its sprinklers were deactivated due to leaks and maintenance funding issues. But the building burned for 17 hours and is still in use today. 2009, the Beijing Mandarin Oriental Hotel fire in China. Its sprinklers were unfinished. The entire building was engulfed in flames and burned for several hours, but is still in use today as a luxury 5-star hotel. And these are just to name a few international examples. The fundamentals of firefighting procedures around the world have remained unchanged following the NIST report on Building 7. Practices didn't stop firefighting at Building 7, but perhaps politics did. Regarding modern high-rise firefighting procedures, we still go in and the buildings are still staying up. That's the dilemma there. We either have to change our strategy and tactics, because now we know, based on NIST, that fire-induced collapse can happen, as it did in Building 7, total collapse. Or we're going to continue fighting fires, going into the interior, setting up our staging in a forward advanced area 2 floors below the fire, and manually attacking the fire. Well, that's what we're doing today. And again, the most recent NFPA 1700 on interior firefighting talks about those procedures. But I have to conclude in my research for my next book that the events did not go down the way NIST describes. The total free fall collapse of Building 7 just doesn't make sense to your seasoned street firefighter. Doesn't to me.